Right. So we are going to begin with today's class with C++ loops, while and do while statement, and we would go about the for statement as well. Actually, in the last class, we actually dealt with the decision making, which is nothing but if statement. Okay. So we had a deep insight. Even I gave some independent work also, and I'll be sharing you the Google Classroom link very soon, so that you will have access to it and you can submit the assignments. Okay. So this particular class we will go more about the C++ loops, while and do while statement, and about for statement as well. So this is especially for you students and young researchers, and you can reach me at dr.krishnaanand@gmail.com. So before beginning any session, just a 1 minute prayer is essential. Thank you, God, for giving me this golden opportunity to deliver this useful session to share my knowledge among my fellow national and international participants. So this particular class all about C++ loops. We are going to go with the while statement. Then we will have a sample program, and then we will have the output of the program. We will discuss more about loops, the building blocks. Then after the while statement, we will go with the for statement. Once again, we will have a sample program with its output. We would understand how you should initialize and re-initialize the conditions and the operators. Then we would discuss about comma operator. After while statement, we would discuss about do while statement, and we would explain about its sample program with its output. Then we would have like nesting loops, which means loop within a loop. Okay. Then I would give some independent work, and we will have a short class test. So with the case of while statement, this is the structurogram. Okay. So as long as the expression is true, you can go with the execution of statements. Okay. Right. So similar to your for statement, you have a while statement. So when the expression is true, the statement is executed. So this is actually a sample program where you compute the average of numbers. So you begin with any program with hash include IO stream numbers using namespace std. So int of main function you are going to start with. Now you have two variables, x and count. Okay. So integer x and then count equal to 0. Okay. So both of them are integers. So int x and count equal to 0. Then you are going to define a variable called sum, which is a floating point value. So float sum is equal to 0, 0.0. Since it is a floating point value, that's the reason we have specified as 0, 0.0. Otherwise, we would have mentioned it as 0. And then C out. Please enter some integers. Okay. And then you started with a break line or maybe new line character, and then break with any letter. Okay. Then you include the while statement. This is actually the application of while statement. While Cin is greater than x, which means the input is greater than the variable x. If this is the case, then you are going to give sum plus is equal to x, which means that sum is equal to sum plus x. Okay, and then you are going to double increment it by count. Okay, plus plus count. Okay, so you are ending with a brace, and then you go with the printing of the statement. See out the average of the numbers is, okay, which means that sum divided by counts. Okay, and you are going to end one and then return null or maybe return void or maybe return zero function. Okay, so for this case we are going to go with the average of the numbers. So please enter some integers. For example, 9, 10, okay, and then 12q. So it is going to get the average of the numbers. Okay, right. So with this case, it's going to take maybe 9, 10, and 12. What is this Q value? Do you have any idea? Actually, in the program, it is mentioned like break with any letter. So you are going to break with any letter, maybe A or maybe S or maybe D. So that's the reason you are giving it as Q. Okay. So it's not going to take this Q value, but it is going to take 9, 10, and 12. So what's the answer? 22 and then 31. 31 divided by 3. So that's the reason you get the average of the numbers is 10.333. So if you can see from the program, actually it is sum is equal to sum plus x. Okay, and then what it does is sum divide by count. Okay, so the total sum 10 plus 12 plus 9 divided by the count is actually 3. Okay, so that's the reason you get the average of numbers to be 10.333. Okay. So this is how you compute the average of the numbers. So this is an application of the while statement. Okay, so C greater than x and then sum, and then you are going to increment the count value as well. So this is actually the loop statement. Loop means actually something which is being executed within a brace, something which is executed within a bracket. But the thing is that these set of instructions are executed repeatedly. Okay, so it's going to perform a set of instructions repeatedly. Okay, so also it has to be iterated. Like after one instruction is performed, then it is iterated by one. Then again the instruction is performed, okay, and then it is incremented by one. Okay, so this is how the loop performs. Okay, so with the case of C++, it offers three language elements to formulate the iteration statements. So it has like while, do while, and then for statement. Okay, so we have like a while, do while, and for statement. So the number of times the loop is repeated is actually defined with a controlling expression. So we have like for the case of while statement, this is the syntax. Yes, I'm hearing some disturbance. Do you have any clarifications? Do you have any clarifications? Furkat, Furkat, can you hear me? Furkat, can you hear me?
Derste. Orada.
Right. So we are going to continue with the case of loops. So with the case of loops, so with the case of while statement, this is the syntax. So you have syntax is while of expression. Okay. So while of expression, you have the statement which is the loop body. Okay. So after this while of the expression, if it is said to be true, then the statement is said to be executed. Okay. So when entering the loop, the controlling expression is actually verified. Okay. And the expression is actually evaluated. So if this value is said to be true, then the loop body or maybe the statement is executed before the control expression is evaluated once more. So when the expression is being evaluated, if it is said to be true, then the statement will be executed, or maybe the loop body will be executed, and then only it will be the expression will be re-evaluated once again. Okay. So if the controlling expression is said to be false, so the expression value maybe returns to false value, and the program goes on to execute the statement following the while loop. So this statement will not be executed if it is false, and the following statements will be executed. So similar to the for statement, your while statement acts, and it's a very common practice to place the loop body in a new line of the source code. For example, if you see this particular program, in the case of the while statement, you have the slash n. Okay, so you have the new line character which is to be executed. Okay, so this is the case with the case of the while statement. So only if you indent the statement, you can improve the readability of the program. So it is very necessary that you try to introduce more intents so as to make the readers or maybe authors, make the best understandability of your program. this is an example of loop. So you have an example int count is equal to 0. So while count is less than 10, okay, with this case, so your C out would be incremented value. Okay, so you are going to end with end 1. Okay. So here the controlling expression actually you can consider it as a boolean expression. So controlling expression you can convert to the boolean type including any arithmetic operation. So for this case, in this example, you are going to initialize count is equal to 0, and for this case when count is less than 10, you are going to increment the count value. Okay. So as we already learned, the value 0 returns to false and all other values converted to. Okay. So if this is the case, for example, if count is less than 10, for example, if you have like count is equal to 0, okay, so 0 less than 10, it increments. So it is incremented by 1. Okay, and after that 1 less than 10. Okay, so it is true. True means it is incremented by 1. So it becomes 2. 2 less than 10, it is incremented by 1, it becomes 3. 3 less than 10, so it continues up to 9. And after that 10 less than 10 means it is incremented by 1, and after that it becomes 11. 11 less than 10, it becomes false. So it breaks down and it executes the following statement. So this is how the loops function in the case of the while statement. So these are nothing but the the building blocks. Actually, here in the case of the building block, you need not have to repeat one statement in a program loop. Only thing is that you have to place the statements in a block, followed by, marked by the parenthesis or maybe the brace. So it's actually equivalent to a statement where you can use the block whenever syntax requires a statement. Okay, so it's you're going to calculate the average of the sequence of the integers input via the keyboard. Okay. So here, with the case of loop statement, it will have like one. If once one expression is true, then it will execute one statement. If the expression is false, then it will execute the following statement. Okay. So here the statement must be placed in actually a block. So this is what I'm talking about, building blocks. Okay. So you have to include within the parenthesis. You are going to place the block marked by the parenthesis. Okay. Here the controlling expression C in is greater than x is said to be true provided the user inputs an integer. So when the user actually inputs an integer, so the controlling expression C in is actually said to be true. So it's what inside happens is it is actually converted into a boolean type, and it will be evaluated. It will be true for any valid input, and it is said to be false for the other case. Okay. Suppose if let us take in the case you are giving invalid input, for example, in place of the integer, if the user types a letter, okay, so what it does is it terminates the loop and it executes the next statement. Okay, right? For example, you are asked to enter the integer. For example, let us take the case I'm entering a, and it says okay, the value is not an integer. Okay, and finally it ends the program. So this is how the building blocks function as well. So this is actually the for statement. We have the expression one, and then you have expression 2. As long as the expression 2 is true, then the statement would follow and it would be executed and followed with the expression 3. So you have like expression 1, expression 2 and expression 3. Expression 1 would be there, expression 2 is there and expression 2 is evaluated. If expression 2 is true, then statement follows and statement would be executed. Then you have expression 3. This is actually a sample program where you have conversion. Okay, €1 to $1 conversion exchange rate. So you have hash include IO string interface, hash include IO manipulation. Okay, so this is actually you are going to access the manipulation library using namespace std. Okay, then you go with the int of main function. You are going to define the rate function. So double. This is the double type. Double rate is equal to 1.15. Okay, and then you are going to print the cout statement. Fix set precision of 2. Okay, and again you are going to print the cout statement euro. Okay, and then you include the tab line character /t dollar then /e. Okay, now this is the for statement I'm talking about. So for int euro equal to 1, you're going to initialize, and euro it's less than equal to 5. So it's, you're going to define the limits, okay, and then you are going to increment the euro function, okay, and then see out tablet character euro, and then once again you are going to go with the next statement slash t euro into rate, okay. So we have already defined the rate to be 1.15, okay. So whatever may be the case, maybe for conversion of the your currency into US dollars, okay, like maybe divide by 10 or maybe divide by 100. So you are going to define the formula, okay. So here for this case, for the conversion of the rate, so euro into rate, euro into 1.15 gives 1 US dollar, okay. So and then you are going to return with a zero function, return null or maybe return void function. So for this case, the input is, for example, euro, for example, 1, then it is going to multiply by 1.15. Okay, so you are going to get the value of the US dollar. So you are, this is actually the conversion. So with the case of the rate, for the case of euro, for 1 or maybe 2 or maybe 3 or maybe 4 or maybe 5, the dollar calculates in such a way so you can get access to this function as long it is less than or equal to 5, it is going to calculate, okay. And after that the conversion differs, after that, like 5 you can change condition. So up to 5, 1 to 5 you are going to set the limit like 1.15, and you are going to multiply accordingly. Right. So with the case of initializing and re-initializing, we have a syntax. Especially when you are going to initialize a loop, and then if you have to re-initialize any loop, then you will have like a different expression. For example, in the case of the for statement, if you discuss with regards to the structurogram, like expression 1 is there, and then expression 2 is evaluated, and expression 2, if it is said to be true, means the statement will follow, and after that we will have the expression 3. With the case of initializing and re-initializing the loop, we will have this syntax for expression 1, and then expression 2, and then expression 3. Okay, so similar to a switch case statement, we will have the for statement. Okay, so expression 1 is executed first. We will have the expression 1 to be executed, and only once to initialize the loop. Okay, and after that you have the controlling expression 2, which is always evaluated prior to executing the loop body. Okay, so only if expression 2 is said to be false, the loop is actually terminated. Suppose let us take in the case if expression 2 is true, then the loop body will be executed, and subsequently the loop will be re-initialized. Okay, for this expression 1 it will be initialized, and if expression 2 is said to be true, it will be re-initialized. Okay, and expression 2 is retested. Okay, you can also define the loop counter in expression 1. So when you do so, the counter can be used within the loop, but not after leaving the loop. So this is how you execute maybe with the case of the initializing and re-initializing. If expression 1 is executed first, and after that the loop is initialized, and after that you have expression 2, and then expression 2 is said to be true, then okay, the loop will be executed. If expression 2 is false, the loop is terminated. If expression 2, what I've said, is executed, then it will be re-initialized. Okay, and then it will be retested, and then the subsequent statements will be followed. Right. We are going to go with a simple example of a for statement. For int I equal to 0 and I less than 10, you have the C of I plus plus. Okay. So, can you tell me what is the output of this for loop? You are going to initialize I equal to 0, I less than 10. So, C out I plus plus. So, can you tell me how this function executes? Can anybody of you tell me? Like for example, I equal to 0. Okay, for the I equal to 0, it checks I less than 10. Okay, and after that, I is incremented. I is incremented. Okay, then I becomes 1. 1 less than 10, and then it is incremented. As long it goes like 9, 9 less than 10, and then it is incremented 10, and then 10 less than 10, the condition becomes false. Suppose if the condition becomes false, what happens? When the condition becomes false, what happens?
It stops to.
Yeah, it stops, it terminates, the loop terminates. Okay, so you can say that the loop body can be an empty statement. This is always the case if the loop header contains all necessary statements. So like maybe it might have like empty line statements as well, because the loop gets executed simultaneously, and even the empty statement should occupy a line of its own. It can be in any case, it can be an empty statement, or it can occupy a line of its own. So this is an example exchange in rate, the same case what we have already discussed. Okay, so we have like hash include IO string, hash include we are going to access the manipulation library. Okay, using namespace std int of main function. You are going to define two variables, euro and max euro. Okay, so you are going to define the type as long type, long euro, max euro. You are going to enter the amount in euros. Okay, and then you are going to define the rate function, double rate. Okay, so exchange rate, euro to dollar, we are going to define it. Okay, and then C out, you are going to introduce a new line character, table of exchange. Okay, and then euro to US dollar. Okay, so you're going to go with C out. Please give the rate of exchange. Okay, so it's actually you're going to give the rate in 1 euro in to the US dollar. Okay, so input, you are going to input the rate, okay, and then output you are going to please enter the maximum euro. So actually max euro, this is actually max euro. So this is input is max euro. So you are going to first of all input the euro, okay, and then you are going to input the rate, and then you are going to input the max euro, okay, right? So the output table means the C out. So you are going to set the function euro to you are going to set the function as W of 20. Okay, right? So the tablet character, you are going to introduce the rate, and then you are going to go with the N1 statement. Okay. So with the case of C out, you are going to go with the set precision of 2. You are going to set the precision limit. Okay, and then you are going to go with the long, lower, and then upper function. So only if you define the lower limit and the upper limit, and after define the step width function, you are going to determine the actual lower limit and the step width function. Okay, so in the case of the for statement, this is actually the loop. Okay, for lower one, step one. This is actually lower limit and then step width. Okay, and then the lower function with the case of step 10, and then lower 2 into step 1. Okay, so it's actually going to output the block as well. You are going to set the output function with the case of limit from lower limit 12 to 20. Okay, right? So we are going to return with the zero function. So first of all, with the case of the program, we are going to go with the euro, rate, and then max euro. Okay. So after inputting all these values, you are going to input the lower limit to be set W of 12. Okay, and then you are going to set the precision limit of 2. Okay, then you are going to give the lower limit and then the step width. Okay. So after defining the values between the lower limit 12 to 20, you are going to end or maybe return 0. Okay. So this is how you are going to calculate with the case of the function. So the output for this case would be from 12 to 20. You are going to input the function just like in the previous case over here with the case of euro. You are going to give the euro dollar, euro function. You are going to define the maximum euro. Okay, so till like 12 to 20, 12 to 20, you are going to convert it to the dollar function. Okay, so you are going to multiply. We are going to access the manipulation library, and we are going to multiply by 1.15. Okay, so you are going to get the dollar function. So this is how you evaluate a for statement. As I've already discussed the structurogram, any of the three expressions in the for statement can be omitted. So you should have at least two semicolons. So if you can give or mainly in the first statement there will be three expression. For example, if it is being omitted means you have to include double semicolon. Okay. So it's actually causing an infinite loop because the controlling expression is assumed to be true if expression 2 is missing. So here there is actually no expression. So it's actually an infinite loop. So in this case, maybe it may be true or it might be false. But in this case, since it's an infinite loop, it's assumed to be true. Okay. So here in the following case, for the example, for semicolon, okay, this is for the first part, and then you have the expression, which is the second part, and the semicolon is the third part. Okay. So here the loop header is equivalent to the while of expression. The loop body is executed as long as the this expression is said to be true. Okay. So you should understand the case. With the case of the first statement, you have three expressions. Okay, expression one, expression two, and expression three. Here, expression two is actually evaluated. This is actually an infinite loop, so that's the reason we include double semicolon, and it is assumed to be true. Okay. So for this example, you have like a semicolon expression, semicolon. This expression is actually evaluated. Okay, it is evaluated, and then the following statements will be executed. Yes. Do you have any doubts or clarifications? Do you have any doubts or clarifications? Next, we are going to go with the comma operator. So, comma operator is similar to what we have discussed with the case of the for statement as well. Actually, you can use the comma operator to include several expressions, like maybe expression one, expression two, expression three, expression four, up to expression n. Okay, n number of expressions, where a single expression is syntactically correct. Okay. So, several variables can be initialized in the for statement. With the case of syntax, you can use expression 1, expression 2, expression 3, so on up to expression n. Okay. So when you are including the expressions with the case of the comma operator, it will be evaluated from left to right. Okay. With the case, for example, int x, comma I, comma limit. So for this case, what you are defining is x, I, and limit are integers. Okay. So now with the case of the first statement, for I equal to 0, limit equal to 8, and I is less than limit, when then I plus is equal to 2. Okay. Then x is equal to I into I, and then see how you are going to set the with function n. Okay. Now my question to you, my dear students, how does this statement function? How does this statement function? Can everybody reply? For I equal to 0, limit equal to 8, I less than limit, I plus is equal to 2. How does this condition function?
For the first loop, I is 0,
Okay,
and then increments to 2.
okay, so 0 less than 8, and after that,
And yeah, we have and x equal to
no,
I.
what is the value of I plus is equal to 2? What is the value of I plus is equal to 2?
It's 2.
It's 2. So I is equal to I plus 2. So 0 plus 2, it is 2. Okay, and after that, 2 less than limit, 2 less than 8, and after that,
And yeah, we have this function loop.
okay,
So it's equal to I times I. It's equal to 4.
okay, good,
We get yeah, and we have an output.
okay,
No, again this loop repeats,
okay,
and we have the we can say we have a two SI, and it is less than a limit
okay,
8,
okay,
and it again increments 2, and it gets 4,
okay,
and x gets 4 times 4, it's 16.
okay.
Then again this loop
Okay.
continues.
So what happens? What happens when I is greater than 8?
Greater than x, Rather the link, it stops.
It stops. Very good. So you should understand that when I is equal to 0, then 0 less than 2, it increments, it becomes 2, then it becomes 4, it becomes 6, it becomes 8. As long as it becomes 8, it means as long as it becomes 6, it is fine. But when it increments by 2, when it becomes 8, so it's 8 less than 8, it is said to be false. So actually the loop terminates. So actually, when the comma operator, actually when you can understand, it separates the assignments for the variable I and the limits. So you're going to calculate the output of the value x in a single statement. Okay, so that's the reason we include comma operator. So you are going to execute it correctly, and also you are going to simplify the expressions. That's the reason you use the comma operator. So this is actually do while statement. This is the structurogram for do while statement. So as long this is actually the statement. As long as the expression is true, you are going to execute this statement. Okay. Right. So you are going to go with the do and then the statement while of the function, your statement would be executed. I'll show you a simple program where we are going to go with the do while statement. This program you can actually go with the hash include IO string using namespace std. First of all, in at the beginning itself, you are going to uh, define the delay function. Okay, constant long time. Okay, delay equal to 1 followed with the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 zeros and then L. Okay, in main function in TIC. Okay, so you're going to go with the output function. How often should the tone be the output? You're going to input the tick function TIC, and now you're going to go with the do while statement. Okay, so do, this is the case. Okay, for of long I equal to 0, I less than delay plus I. So here I is less than 0, I less than delay. It's actually less than this function, and then it is pre-incremented. It is not post-incremented. It is pre-incremented. Okay. So plus I, and then see now the tone is okay. And after this function is being executed, so you're going to go with the while statement minus ti. So you are going to decrement it, okay, and then you are going to go with the cout end of the acoustic interlude, okay, and then you are going to return with the zero function or maybe void function. Okay, so this is how you are going to go with the sample program. So you are going to go with the the delay function as well, as long it is less than the this function, okay, right, it is going to increment it and you are going to get the tone, okay, and afterwards while you are going to decrement it, okay, as long it's decremented, and then when it is greater than 0, when it comes to the 0 part, then you are going to get the end of the acoustic interlude. So this is actually the syntax of the do while loop. So with the case of maybe when you compare it with the for loop or maybe while loop, which are controlled by the headers, the do while loop is controlled by the footer. Okay. So here the controlling expression is evaluated after executing the first loop. So as already discussed, like after evaluating, when executing the first loop, the controlling expression is evaluated. So the results in the loop body is being performed at least once. Okay, so you have the do's and then you have the statement while of expression. So when the do while loop is actually executed, the loop body is processed first. Okay, so only then the controlling expression being evaluated. Here the loop body is iterated again if the result is true. Otherwise, the loop is actually terminated. Here, actually, the loop while loop you should follow with any statement with the semicolon. So what we said earlier, nesting loops, we are going to include a loop within a loop. Okay. So loop can be nested. That is, the loop body can also contain a loop. In the case of American National Standards Institute (ANSI) standard, it stimulates a maximum depth of 256 nested loops. So you can have like so many number of loops, loop within a loop. The program on the opposite page, maybe with the case of the number of tones, with the number being defined with a user input, you have like two loops, one which is nested with each other. Okay, for the case of here, with the case of this program, if you can see, this is one loop, do statement. Okay, and then with the case of while, there is another loop. Okay, so you have like loop within a loop. So when a do while loop is executed, the loop body is processed first. Okay. So only when the then the controlling expression is said to be evaluated. So do while loop is executed and then loop body is processed first. In the earlier case, loop body is processed after the statement. So here with the case of do while statement, the loop body is processed first. Only then the controlling expression is evaluated. So the loop body is iterated again if the result is said to be true. Otherwise, the loop is actually terminated. Right? So with the case of nesting loops, even every time the outer do while loop is actually repeated, a short break occurs, and the break is caused by the inner for loop. Okay, where the variable I is incremented from 0 to the variable value of the delay, and the text and the tone are subsequently output. For example, with the case of the control character bell, you can assume the ASCII character code to be 7. Okay, so like the do statement is being used, the output would be programming the the tone as well, even if the user types 0 or maybe the negative number. So this is how you uh, trying to output the text and the tone function.